Hello, everybody, and welcome back to On the Diamond and Into the Deep. As always, I am your host, Mahal. And it's been a minute. I won't lie. Been really busy with schoolwork, so haven't been able to have time to do number one prep, but number two spend half an hour to 45 minutes to record and then edit. But with that, we're back. It is Friday, May 30th. It is 6:37 at the time I am recording. Not sure what all we're going to do here, to be honest. I would like to talk some early deadline targets because I believe that is where we need to go from now. The Mariners are now 31 and 27 or something like that. Well, let's take a look-see, shall we? But, I think they're at a decent spot. 31 and 27. Is that what I said? I look-y think that's what I said. Yo, that's cringy. Win percentage is almost 54%. We're in Dangerland right now. This can't happen. We are in Dangerland. But on today's episode, I'm going to talk some early deadline targets. I'm going to talk about what's been happening recently in Mariners land. I'm going to talk about Jorge Polanco for a quick minute. I'm not going to go crazy into that. And then I've got about 15 minutes or so where I just talk what's been going on with the Mariners, a lot of deadline target talk, but just Mariners talk in general with Jeff. So we'll get that in there at the end. I'm excited to drop that. It was a really fun conversation. We recorded it watching Game 4 of the Mariners-Astros series. We did end up losing that game, but it was a fun watch. Cal Raleigh gunned to do to second base while we were watching, so get to see a little bit of reaction of that. But yeah, let's get into it, y'all. Welcome back. Alright, let's just start with what's been happening. So, the Mariners, as I said, 31 and 27. The Mariners had a massive road trip. The last time I recorded was right before that road trip. It was right before the Orioles series. The Mariners lost the Orioles series. They then split with the New York Yankees, which really looks fantastic. Soto, Judge, and Stanton are on airs right now. So to be able to split a 4-game in the Bronx is really, it's actually fantastic, I'm going to be honest. Especially when we aren't really playing that great of baseball right now. It's really a frustrating brand of baseball to watch recently. Watching games, you find yourself just like fed up with the way they're playing. The bullpen's been selling games. The bats are striking out at the high clip they were at the start of the season. They can't seem to string together hits. They're expanding the zone as hitters. Starting pitchers have been giving up a lot of home runs. It's just frustrating to watch. Mariners then lost a series to the Washington Nationals, which I didn't think there was any shot of that happening. That happened. That seemed to knock some sense into them as they went 3 straight games winning against the Houston Astros, and then they lost today. But 3 out of 4 against the Astros at home is fantastic. That is exactly what you wanted. Sweep would have been nice, especially with Spencer Spaghetti on the mound, but, didn't happen. They struck out 8 times, I think, against Mr. Spaghetti, and Spaghetti had his best outing of the season for sure, probably of his career. He gave up 0 runs for the first time all year and tied his career record in strikeouts, I guess is what you'd say. Career high in strikeouts. That's how it goes. The bullpen showed up in this series. Even today, Kirby Snead, really well done. Saved the bullpen, pitched, I think, 2, maybe 3 innings, shutout ball there. So well done, Kirby Snead. Gilbert gives up 4. And I don't want to say that can't happen, but he's been skidding a little bit. He's got to find some footing. I'm going to need quality starts from you. And that sometimes is going to mean 6 innings, 3 runs. And if it was 6 innings, 3 runs today, probably wouldn't be that upset. But it's instead 6 innings, 4 runs. And while that is a 1-run difference, it makes all the world of difference. I think quality starts are massive. They really are. And you have to get them if you want to win ball games. First 3 games, though, starting pitching was lights out. Shut down this Astros lineup. The bats came up clutch in Game 2 and Game 3 especially. And when you look at the innings where they came up clutch, this is a point I really do want to make. I want you to watch those innings when they come up clutch like that. Again, watch those innings, see what they're doing. The biggest difference I notice is they're not expanding the zone, and they're finding a way to get hits. They're not trying to get like home runs every at bat. It feels like a lot of the time they're just, and it's a little bit cliche to say, but it feels like they are swinging for the fences. It feels like they want a home run every at bat, and that just can't really happen. You know what I mean? Like, when you're doing that, that's when the strikeouts are happening. But because you can't string together any hits, that's why your entire lineup is doing this. Because they feel like they have to be the dude to then get that home run that's going to score the runs. But you're not high enough in slugging then for those home runs to be the thing your offense is relying on. So your offense has no basis of success right now. Where you're finding success is those little innings, those little pockets where you're able to not expand the zone. You're able to get walks. You're able to string a couple hits together. You're able to get dudes on base, but then you're able to then drive them in through a base hit. And what we can get runners on is oftentimes just one, and then you're not able to drive them in. You look at this series, you score runs in the first inning. Why did that happen in game one? It happened because you get a couple dudes on base, and then you get Julio to come in, and he slaps one out, gets one through the holes, and he finds a way to get an RBI, and then you continue to add on. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're not expanding the zone, you're getting that pitch, and then you're hitting it. Getting your pitch, you're hitting it, you're not expanding the zone, so you're chasing, striking out. You're making the pitcher work, and you're not letting him off the ropes. The biggest thing that I see them doing is they'll get a pitcher close to the ropes, and then they let him off. And you have to keep them on the rope. You got to get them out of the game early, tax that bullpen, especially in a 4-game series like this. Tax the bullpen, make that bullpen be used to the greatest extent you can in game 1, game 2, so that game 3 or game 4 or both, they're taxed, and then you can go out and hit against a struggling bullpen, a tired bullpen that's probably going to struggle when they're tired. That's what you have to do, but they're not doing any of that. They're swinging for the fences, they're chasing pitches, and while the chase rate isn't necessarily crazy on those sliders low and away to righties as it was last year, the chase rate up is incredibly high. You look at the 9th inning of yesterday's game, game 3. Josh Hader comes in, and he's pumping fastballs at the top rail of the zone. And you look at the dudes that got on base. All right? Why did they get on base? Because they walked and they laid off the pitches that are very close to the zone, I want to say, but are outside the zone. Then you look at Ryan Bliss. He gets 2 strikes on him fast, but then he looks at 3 pitches that are close to the zone at the top of the zone, but he's not chasing. Right? And then you get Mitch Haniger to come up. And Mitch Haniger, what does he do? All 3 of the pitches he swung at were actually outside the zone. He's expanding the zone at the top of the zone, which is where Hader needs to hit his pitches. And if he's not hitting them, he's going to walk you, and you're going to get dudes on base. And then you just got to extend and rally. And they still were able to do it in the next inning because they started to do that. They didn't expand the zone. They walked. They got on base. They passed the baton along. And I remember them talking about this last year in interviews. Just pass the baton along. That's all you have to do in these situations. But why is it just these situations? Why is it not pass the baton along the entire time? Why do we not play more small ball? We built our team to be more like that this year, yet we're doing it less than we ever have. We're on pace to tie or break the all-time strikeout record for a season, which was set by the 2019 Minnesota Twins. You have to find a way to get that pass the baton mentality into the rest of this. Really do. Now, how are they going to do that, though? And I think there's a couple dudes up north. I guess it's not really north. Maybe it's south. East. Northeast, southeast. I don't really know, man. It's Toronto. In Canada. You got 2 dudes. First dude I talk about with Jeff quite a bit. That is Vladdy. Vladdy Guerrero Jr. And you look at this Savant page and it's a wowza. Alright? Not striking out a lot and he's walking a lot. I want them to go acquire a dude that's not going to strike out a ton. It's also going to walk. I think that's where it really is important. And Vlad also brings impact. Brings a bat that's going to crush the ball. And he's not very fast. He's not a great defender. But you look at what Mitch Garver's done this season. And I'm less worried about Garver than I am other dudes. But you look at Garver, and you might need to go get a dude that can play DH. And that's what a couple of these dudes can do. And if they can't do it, then you're going to have someone else do it. I think the way that the Mariners roster is built right now, they have flexibility to go get dudes in a lot of places. I think that's really valuable, actually. But they need at least one big dude if they actually want to compete this year. Because right now, it's not enough. You need a dude to go along with Julio. And that's not necessarily to take pressure off Julio, but that can be an aspect. Because when I see Julio, I see a dude that is taking the brunt of everything on his shoulders. He's taking the team on his back. He's trying to take his team on the back. Same thing with Cal Raleigh right now. They're both trying to take the team on their backs, but neither of them can really do it right now. Raleigh has done it a little bit, but Julio hasn't done it this year. Look at Julio in August last year. He started to do that, take the team on his back, and then the team followed. The team relies on Julio, but Julio can't do everything on his own. He needs to have another dude that can supplement him. Now, also, the team needs to just not rely on him in that way. You need to be able to hit without him. It's crucial. But Vladdy is 99th percentile in hard hit percentage, 92nd in walk. He walks 13% of the time, strikes out only 17%. His average exit velocity is 94.3, which is the 98th percentile. The dude hits the ball hard. He's hitting 294 this year with a 389 on base, 412 slug for 801 OPS. What does that say? The dude is pretty good, man. He's going to get on base, and he's going to hit pretty freaking decently. 26 home runs last year, 32 the year before. He already has 5 this year. He's had a meh start to the season, but he's been pretty freaking good also. Like, I don't think you can really say that this is not a dude you want. Ty France has been better recently, but there are other places you can put him. You can put him at DH. They have a lot of dudes at DH already, but you could put him there. He has 100 WRC plus of 136. That seems to be pretty sustainable in my opinion. You look at 2021, his best season, 166 WRC plus. You look at 2022, a little bit down, 133. Last year, 118, and he's bouncing back, it seems like, for 136. He can be a 130 to 140 WRC plus type dude. That's a dude in your lineup that is probably your best hitter right now. And would be extremely, extremely valuable. Now, what would it take to cost? What would it take in terms of cost to acquire him? I talked about this with Jeff. I'm going to talk about it a little bit here, but go continue listening because I think it's really interesting, the discussion we had. I think it's going to take Harry Ford, and this is what I said with Jeff. He's going to take Harry Ford, another one of your dudes in the top 100, probably one of the higher ones. I would guess Emerson or Laz or Formello in there. Maybe. I don't know for sure. It's impossible to know for sure, but this is what my guess in terms of what the Blue Jays do. I think 2 of those dudes in the top 100, preferably 2 of the higher ones if you're the Blue Jays, and then also a lottery type. So is that an Ashton? Is that a Michael Arroyo? Can you go Harry Ford, Michael Arroyo, and someone else that is going to be up a little bit sooner for the Blue Jays? I don't know what the Blue Jays are going to want to do. Can they retool? I don't know. But I think somewhere around there is where the cost is going to be. And I think if you're the Mariners, it's hard to do that. But for a dude in Vladdy Jr., that is a stud. He is a stud. There's no other way about it. And he's been worse than he was in 2021, in which he was a true MVP favorite. He hasn't been as good as that, but he's been very good still. And he is a dude that I think I would love to add. And I've actually been skeptical about it because I've fallen into that trap that's like, oh, he's not even that good. But he's ARB next year, and he's a free agent after next year. Not a rental. You get another year of him. I would see if you could extend him. I don't know if you can, because he's going to hit free agency at a decent time. If you could extend this dude, that's a massive, massive addition to what you have. And maybe if you go trade for Vladdy, it's you throw in Tyler Locklear in there, and you can supplement the Jays now. So maybe it's something like a Tyler Locklear, a Jonathan Clase, a Michael Arroyo, and a Colt Emerson, or a Harry Ford, or a Cole Young. I don't think they're going to trade Cole Young, but maybe it's a Cole Young. Maybe it's a Johnny Farmello. Really don't want to trade Las Montes, but maybe it's a Las Montes. I think that's where the interesting part comes in. And would you be willing to go with that trade? I think I would. I think I would 100% be willing to do that. That is Locklear, top 100 for Baseball America. Another top 100 in one of those upper dudes, and that's one of your top 4 or 5 dudes there. So that's 2 top 100s there. is then you go Jonathan Clase, who was a top 100 last year and is a really nice player, actually. And he has some potential. And a Michael Arroyo, who is, I think, the Mariners' 8th or so prospect right now and has a really high ceiling. He hasn't shown it necessarily, but he's really high ceiling. Would that get it done? I think so. Is that a lot to give up for the Mariners? Probably. Would I do it? I'm going to say if you can do that with Ford, I will go do it. Ford's the dude I most would be willing to trade out of all those. I don't really know why, because I actually really love Ford. He's a great dude. I've met him multiple times. He's really nice. But I think he's the dude I'm most willing to part with, even though he probably will be a stud. Probably will. Now, another dude that is with the Toronto Ball Club is Bo Bichette. Bo Bichette has been a really good, solid player for the Toronto Blue Jays. All right? He has not been that good this year. All right? I think that's where it gets interesting. Where does the cost fit? Where does he fit with the Mariners roster? He's probably going to be your second baseman if you acquire. Either him or JP will be your second baseman. I'm not sure one, but one of them will. Okay? Bichette. He doesn't walk a lot, but he does not strike out a lot. 14.7% strikeout rate. This year, historically, it's been around 20. Probably, if he's going to the Mariners, probably more like 25. Let's be real. His walk percentage is always about 5 to 6. Sometimes a little bit lower, it looks like. But his WRC plus is where it gets interesting. He has been a 120, 130 WRC plus dude his entire career. That's very interesting. I think you can get him. He will add impact to your lineup. He's not gonna be the dude that hits for massive home runs. He's hit 29 home runs in his best year in terms of home run hitting. That was in 2021, similar to Vladdy. How are they not better? Jeez. But he's about a 5-WAR dude, 4 or 5 WAR dude. That's important dude out of your lineup. So that's about 2 or 3 Willies with your ball club, depending on when you acquire. You're not going to be able to acquire him yet. Both these dudes, you're not going to be able to acquire until closer to the deadline. You're going to have competition, so you will have to overpay probably a little bit. And I think that's where my trade proposal kind of actually is realistic, because that I feel like is a little bit of an overpay for a year and a half of Vladdy Jr. But he is a great target. Another dude I'm going to talk about, both these two dudes I think were great targets. I would lean Vladdy actually right now. I've leaned Bichette past, but I would lean Vladdy now. But also, I want to talk about Pete Alonso real quick. I'm going to say, I talked about this with Jeff, so I won't talk too much about it, but I'm going to say maybe Brent Rooker, I'm going to say a little bit more yes, just because he has a little bit more contract, a little bit older. I love his profile. But he's also an outfielder. I think an outfielder would be really valuable to acquire for this team, especially a good right hand. I think Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is the top dude. Is he going to be acquirable for the Seattle Mariners? I don't know. They're going to have to part with a lot, and I'd be willing to do it, to be honest. Depending on how much it is, obviously. But if it's reasonable, including the one I said, I think I'd be willing. I think I would. So I'm going to pass that over to the interview with Jeff, and then I'll do an outro later. Adios, y'all. Okay. I'm here with Jeff today. We are watching Game 4 of the Mariners-Astros series. It's the 4th inning currently, and we're just going to talk some targets in terms of deadline, as the Mariners need a bat for sure and potentially a high-leverage reliever. And I'll just throw it over to you to start, Jeff.
For those that aren't sure where we're at in the game, Julio just grounded out into a very disappointing double play for no good reason at all.
As usual. That seems to always happen. Him, Ty France, all. Okay. So just start it off here, Jeff. Do you have a bat you most want?
Are we talking about realistic? Because we have to have the Vladimir Guerrero conversation.
Right. And I think if they stay in first place, build a little bit of a lead, you could see that as a little bit realistic.
We need a leader in the division for to go after a bat like Vlad. 25.
I think for them to spend that type of resource, you're gonna have that lead and feel good about going into it. Like, I think.
What's it gonna cost? Everything?
For Vlad, I mean, it's going to cost Emerson.
Yeah.
For sure.
Harry.
Probably Emerson, Harry.
I really don't want to give up Harry, but I think for Vlad, it's fine.
I think he's going to end up getting traded. The thing is, I feel like all those dudes, he is the dude I'm most going to trade. You look at that. You look at him.
We can give the bag up for Vlad. That's fine. I don't want to do some of these, like I'm not giving up everything for Luis Robert Jr.
He just gets injured too much. That's my thing. I think his bat plays, and I think that his athleticism in the outfield would play ridiculous. I just don't think that with what you're going to give up, it's more of an injury.
I want to have more conversation about other players, but before we move on from Vlad, all I want in this lineup is gravity.
Yes.
Who are we afraid of? We're talking about in September and October. No pitcher wants to see Cal. No pitcher probably wants to see Julio.
Unless he looks like what he looks like.
Cal looks like doo-doo paper right now. I don't mean to get too graphic on your podcast, but
we can say it.
If you throw him a high fastball, it's over.
It's the same thing with Julio. That's the problem with their lineup.
You throw something
They're
off.
Too easy to attack.
If you're right-handed and you throw something off speed to Julio, he's crippled.
Right. You look at the ninth inning last night. They're facing Hader. Hader's just gunning fastballs at the top of the zone.
Oh, they're all up and in to right.
Everyone.
No adjust
to Haniger, and he chases 3 fastballs up and outside the zone.
Yeah.
It's just they're too easy to attack. You have to get a dude that's going to be able to crush pitches like that. And is that dude Vlad? I don't know for sure. But I think if you look at him and he's crushing fastballs at the top of the zone, he might be that dude.
Okay, so Vlad's in there. I think of Vlad as like a high power, high strike guy. But you go look at his baseball reference page. He doesn't. He finished second in the MVP voting a couple years ago, and it just felt a little inflated to me. And then I looked and I was like, have we ever had a hitter that good in the last? Have we had one in the last 30 years? Is that much gravitational pull? A Griff, like you're not Griffey. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like you'd be the best hitter where you're intentionally walking guys earlier to get around. Like you don't want to face him in a key situation down the stretch.
Yeah.
If you're the other team, you're thinking about the whole time. And if we have 2 of those, and Julio and him,
God, Gilbert gives up a 2-run bomb there at the top of the board, 2 outs on an 0-1 pitch. Bregman, oh my God, just brutal.
Can't stand Bregman.
Bregman's crushed in this series.
Yeah. Okay.
He's another dude. Astros aren't going to fall out. But if they were to, he is another dude. We got Vlad's summit page here. And, first look, that's wow.
Oh, can you imagine having a 294 hitter in our lineup?
It's crazy. 294 with a 389 on base this season. And then you just look at his batting splits, the way he hits the ball. It's just ridiculous.
Why have the Blue Jays been so bad? I don't know the answer to that. And
I think it's their manager.
Yeah.
They're
going to fix that before they trade Vlad or Bichette.
They said that I don't know if they will, because they're going to have to trade their resources now.
If you look at the AL East, the Orioles are a huge problem. The Yankees aren't going anywhere. The Red Sox are playing better than we expected, and I think
their rotation especially.
It appears to be real.
Yeah.
And then the Rays, like the
Rays
Blue Jays,
and the Blue Jays both in the same spot.
Yeah, but like the Rays infrastructure is better. I haven't looked at the top 100, but I'll bet there's Rays on there.
Right.
And
that's true.
And the Blue Jays, I feel like this is the peak of what they have.
Yeah, this was their window.
Yeah.
And they've blown their window.
Probably
a
year ago.
Overtaken.
2 years ago.
Yeah, you look at it. Orioles basically gave the Blue Jays a window in which the Blue Jays had the opportunity to take advantage in the AL East.
Mm-hmm.
The Yankees took a step back. Red Sox took a step back. Rays are going to be the Rays every year. The Orioles were garbage. They were first overall draft pick every year. The Blue Jays had that opportunity. They didn't end up spending, and I think you could relate that to the Mariners right now. Look where the Mariners are. They have some young talent in Julio and the starting rotation, but they got to supplement it. And the Blue Jays weren't able to fully supplement it. I think that's where the Blue Jays are at. And you have to trade your dudes if you're the Blue Jays, I think, to be able to restart that and hopefully find a window as the Orioles.
Well, I'm a person that believes the Mariners have what it takes to contend all the way this year.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Out of the 4th. Got him.
So now we're talking about other teams in the American League. National League, I can't worry about that. There's too much. It doesn't matter. It's going to come down to 7 games. So it doesn't matter.
Right.
But in the American League alone, I understand the Yankees' rotation has been excellent to this point.
But you look at them, dude, there's 0 track.
I'm not a believer.
No.
The Orioles are young. Orioles, let's see them come to Seattle and win in October. Like, if they're going to take it from us, they're going to take it from us. I'm not afraid of anybody in the American League.
Especially if you add.
But What if the Yankees add a bat? What if Orioles don't need a bat? What if the Orioles get another pitcher? What if the Guard Dogs? Very good.
Yeah,
They're a very good team. They're not gonna.
I don't know
They're not gonna
how
add Vlad.
style plays into October. Though.
No, but
They can pitch.
if Vlad and Bichette are going somewhere, we might have the obligation at that point to step in just to block them.
Right.
From going somewhere. Like, not only would it super help our team,
But you need that impact in your lineup. But you also cannot let other lineups then get that impact.
are you willing to trade any of our 5 starting pitchers, not including Hancock? I consider him the 6th now.
Hancock is Maybe.
We don't agree on that one.
No?
I think Hancock starts and is good for most major league teams. We just happen to have a lot of them.
Yeah. He's a 5-starter.
Sure.
5-starter, maybe a 6-starter.
You're telling me that Yankees or Orioles wouldn't he would.
I mean, I just don't know. I don't know if you can, you look at what he did at the start of the season, right?
Mhm.
But I don't know how sustainable that is. As a 5-starter, he was living on the edge.
Do all of our pitchers do something elite except Hancock? Yeah. I don't know what I will give you that. I don't know what his thing is.
I mean, his changeup was the thing coming up, but it hasn't performed.
No. That's a good throw from Cal.
Myers. He
Okay.
came out of nowhere.
Well, then let's talk about the Mets are a mess. Can we get a Pete Alonso for a quarter of the price that we get a Vlad? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I think you can,
and a rental.
but I think the question is, who are you competing with, number one? And number two, how far are you willing to go? Because if you're competing with a team like, say, the Padres, who need a first baseman, they are going to go give up whatever really they can. They're not going to give up an Ethan Salas, of course, but they have the prospect capital similar to what they did with Juan Soto, where they can give up prospect capital and go acquire a dude. And I don't know if that is necessarily where they go, but that is the type of team that I think.
No, they only acquire middle infielders.
Right. But that's the type of team I look at, and I'm like, oh, that's the type of team that is just going to outbid the Mariners. And at that point, I kind of agree with what Jerry would probably do, and you pull out of that, and I don't think you want to give up that crazy amount of minor leaguers. I don't want to part with this entire prospect system because you have 7 dudes in the Baseball America top 100. 7 dudes. You can trade 2 to 3 of them, and you still have 5 or 6. But
that's terrible, man. But yeah.
4 or 5. 4 or 5. 4 or 5 dudes in the top 100, and you're going to get more dudes as they come up. Look at Felny. I feel like you have to use that prospect capital that you have and use that in a few years when your rotation is nearing the end. And you extend that rotation, and then you find your another window, and your window is just completely extended. I don't think you should throw away all those.
No, definitely not. How many of them do you give up for a Vlad?
I think you give up 3. 2, maybe 3.
You're a little young. The Adam Jones trade still keeps me up at night. I'm willing to. I'll say the thing on your show. I'll give you the bite. I think Harry Ford is really good. And for trading him for a bat now, that's one thing. It's Adam Jones was for pitching to Seattle. It was insane. Yeah, it was an insane trade. Great center fielder. No thanks. We have plenty of those. We need pitching. It was a big swing and a miss, but the Harry Ford of it all really makes me nervous. Trading him.
I just think that when I look at all the dudes in the system, I think he's the dude that I have the least faith in, actually. I mean, you think about how many catchers get drafted out of high school and actually it's so rare. Maybe he is that dude. I think I'd rather see him than Cole Young. I think a Cole Young is going to be a really good.
Yeah. Okay, what about Hancock for Alonso tomorrow? One for one. Why?
I just think the Mets
Alonso's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. I guess money doesn't really matter to Cohen.
I mean, I think part of the thing with Alonso too is I hate to talk about it, but the money does come into play. Alonso's on quite a bit of money, so you look at it.
That's done at the end of the year, though.
Right, but I mean, if you're the Mariners, you're going to have to either give away someone that's going to bounce out that money, or have the Mets eat some of that money, and then you're gonna have to give up a little bit more capital. So I think whether you could talk straight up, I don't think. Could you throw in maybe a Jonathan Kloste, who's been in the league, has some speed? Could he play? I don't know. I think maybe you add him, then you also add Hancock into that, so you do both those dudes, and then maybe you throw in some sort of lottery ticket type dude that's in your low minors right now. I think.
What do you think of the Garver of it all? Is it over? Are we giving up? Yeah.
I feel a lot better about him than I do.
That's true.
I mean, that's why when I'm looking at targets right now, I really like Bichette.
Play second base.
Yeah.
The Air King.
Yeah.
That's going to drive Dakota nuts.
And I think he's the type of dude you could extend, really. Bichette seems like the type of dude that would take an extension if you give him an extension. Especially compared to
he doesn't seem as expensive cost wise as Vlad. Like in my head.
Agreed. I think he's hella very underappreciated for that Blue Jays team. I mean, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is the dude.
Yep.
When you look at that Blue Jays team, when you think about that Blue Jays team, when you look at statistics, I mean, Bichette has been better every
Is their
year.
fan base going to be fine with Bichette leaving? Maybe with Vlad they revolt.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I hate to hear. I mean, Blue Jays fans, it would suck. It really would. I think at this point you have to do it.
So happy I get to be on your show. Happy now as a young podcaster. What podcast do you listen to?
Marine Lair.
You listen to Marine Lair? Do you listen to national baseball or just?
Yeah.
Just.
So, I'm actually wearing a John Boy shirt. John Boy, I love listening.
Talking ball makes me laugh. It just brings a smile to my face.
It's incredible. They have fun with it, and that's what it's really all about. Baseball is incredible.
Yeah, jeez.
Oh, Zach Singleton? No, you're a Tina?
The fact that we both don't know
who it
great
is.
stuff. That's your team.
Catcher.
At least it wasn't a pitch right down the middle. Oh, wait.
Yeah. So nationally, talking bases in terms of local stuff.
Yeah.
I met those dudes actually down in training.
Yeah.
Super nice guys.
Nice. As a young person,
yes.
what do you think of the Mariners announcers? What's your breakdown?
Best in the league, right?
Okay, sure.
I mean, they have fun with it. I think a lot of people take broadcasting as this serious thing. You have to always be super serious, stay on topic and everything. And while they stay on topic, they also find fun stuff to talk about, fun stories. Think about Dave Sims. I mean, dude has stories for ages. Once he's done, he's the type of dude that can start a podcast and it just goes awesome, like preserved, because all the stories he has. I mean, he talks about meeting all these dudes from 50 years ago, and it's amazing.
Dave Sims, 15 years ago, he still does it a little. He's grown so much and he's gotten way better. College, any pop fly was gone. Like a deep drive to left.
He does do it.
Deep drive. Oh,
he's probably done it in this game.
Halfway to the warning track. Yeah, he's gotten better.
That is questionable.
I do love that he has a hey now. I'm back in on Sims with the hey now. Hey now is great.
I feel like for a broadcaster, you got to have your thing.
Always fun at a ball game after the Mariners have had like 14 batters in a row retired to give a little hey now. You know, get them rolling. A sarcastic.
Or a little single.
Yeah.
Right side.
Hey now.
Hey now.
I think Goldsmith's the best I've ever.
Absolutely.
Well, since Niehaus that
He's
I've ever.
Amazing. And he's been on radio all year.
Yeah.
Would love to hear him on TV.
One of my early bosses. I won't say his name. He worked for the Mariners in the Kingdom, and he was with Niehaus in the booth all the time.
Oh.
And Niehaus and him would like look at each other, and Niehaus would like give a wink, and he was so good at he would flip his mic on and off so that he could say what he needed to say. He was usually the only one in there at that time in like the early 90s, and my buddy would tell me that Niehaus would be like, and a win for the Mariners, 7 games back. And then he'd turn the mic off and be like, no chance in hell. And then turn it back on and be like, we are still in this, folks. Like, just like stuff, all that kind of stuff.
That's the real deal right there.
And then he would like, Niehaus was king of just like throwing out an attendance number that was nonsensical and like no one gave him. Like, 22,000 in the Kingdom tonight, and it's just like 2,000. No one there, or like
the Coliseum.
Yeah, Niehaus famous for those two things in the booth.
I wish I had experienced Niehaus.
Oh
I mean, I still remember the day that he passed away. My dad was crying.
Yep.
because it was just that good. It was sentimental for Seattle.
Yep.
It's unreal. And that's probably what Goldsmith will become for my generation.
Yeah, he's so good.
It's amazing. It really is.
And Riz does fine on the radio. I have small
He's such a
children now,
nice
so
dude.
I have the radio. I have the game in my
Right.
AirPod a lot more than
Yeah.
I'm watching. And Riz is good too.
I mean, his voice is just iconic.
Then they have that fourth guy whose name I can never remember.
Flowers.
Is it? No. I love Blowers. Blowers, the two East
Oh.
Sofa call. The
That-
fourth play-by-play guy on the radio that I have no idea who it is.
Oh, who is
He's
that?
not bad.
No, he's like newer as of what, last year or something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that.
What's his name?
I wish 710 would get some more ads though. Whenever I open up the app, it's always the same commercial.
Oh my god. What's the old dude?
Prostate cancer. Every time.
Every single time.
Freddie Carly and I
It's-
laughing
my dad
about-
joked that.
yeah. It was opening
You can't get
day,
anything
2017. I wonder if I could do the whole. I'm not going to. I bet I could do the whole ad.
2017.
Yeah.
I got diagnosed with prostate cancer.
I watched what my friend went through, and I couldn't see myself going through that.
And then he says something, and it just doesn't make any sense. One of his lines.
I would highly recommend proton therapy. Proton therapy. That's what it is.
What? Highly recommend. It's like, what? For anyone? Or
Everybody.
What are we
Everybody
talking
should get
about
it
here?
at all times.